Hello, everyone. Chris Whitten here again. Glad to be back with you. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about a milestone that passed. It just came up in my memories back in June, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about the album that I was so fortunate to be invited to work on with the members of George Strait's Ace and the whole band. And I just wanted to tell a little bit about the story of how that came about, how I became involved, and explain how that was probably one of my all-time favorite album projects, recording sessions, and experiences. So without further ado, let's dive right in. So in 2011, after I'd been working for Cody Johnson for a while, my then wife was pregnant with my oldest daughter, and she had some complications with that and was on bed rest. We had a lot going on dealing with all of that and so forth. So I had kind of tried to slow down a little bit. That's when I quit playing for Kojo. And I started, shortly thereafter, got a phone call from my old friend, Mr. Ronnie Huckabee. So to back up a little bit, whenever I first moved to Austin, I was aware that the Ace and the Whole Band had a weekly jam session there in San Marcos. And initially it was over at the old Cheatham Street warehouse right there by the railroad tracks, and which happened to be one of the first venues that the Ace and the Whole Band and George Strait played regularly back in the 1970s. And the fellow who owned it, who passed away not too long ago, he had actually taken George to Nashville for the first time. And as I recall, I believe that Nashville basically told George he was too country and sent him back to Texas. And, of course, famous last words, I reckon. Anyway, shortly after moving to the Austin area and kind of getting into the mix of things, I had already met the guys in Oklahoma City in the late 90s, thanks to my friend Bob Wood. And so I decided to go reconnect with them. I started going out to do the jam there on Monday nights at Cheatham Street. And shortly thereafter, I don't even remember why, they switched over to Nephew's, another little venue there on the town square in San Marcos, and switched to Tuesday nights. So I started doing that, and pretty much every Tuesday night that I wasn't on the road for about seven to 8 years there, I was there at Nephew's. I played the whole night with the guys, and I did it for free drinks and to keep my sanity, so to speak, keep my chops up, and just get to play the good old songs that I enjoyed playing, and getting to play twin fiddles and triple fiddles and all that good stuff with these guys, and be schooled, essentially, learn about good old honky-tonk music. After about 6 years, I remember Benny MacArthur telling me that he was going to go ahead and graduate me from his school of beer joinery, and he said he would get me a wood-burned plaque and nail a beer can to it. And speaking of, I never did get my plaque, so I'll have to call Benny about that. But anyhow, that's how I got to know these guys, and so much respect for them, and so much time together with them, and had just enjoyed their company. They were all heroes of mine, incredible musicians, and just an incredible group of guys. So in 2011, when the band leader / piano player, Mr. Ronnie Huckabee, gave me a call, he told me, he said, there's been a lot of talk here recently that George is looking at retirement sooner than later. He said, and we really don't know where we're going to be as far as our income and what we'll do moving forward when that day comes. We really don't know what that's going to look like, but we would like to go ahead and start booking and playing more gigs as a band, aside from the actual straight gigs and tours. And they just wanted to go ahead and put something together and work on doing an album, and asked if I would care to be a part of that. Of course, over the years, my real good friend, Mr. Hayden Vatera, who's a great fiddle player, he'd worked with like Rick Trevino, Sleep at the Wheel, and quite a few other folks. Hayden, and he's a great fiddle player, great guitar player, and all the things. Hayden and singer, and Hayden had been working with him quite a bit as well, but he had gone out, was working on his own album at that time as well. Of course, it was kind of a setback for me because I didn't sing. I'm one of the few people in the organization who was not a singer, and so I pretty much just played fiddle on those gigs. So in the summer of 2012, I believe it was the week of June 11th, through the 15th, somewhere along in there. We got together. We went into the studio there with our buddy, steel guitar great Mr. Tommy Dedimore's studio down in Floresville, Texas, and we started recording an album. And it was really great. We had spent quite a bit of time leading up to that as far as song selection and so forth. Of course, all the guys who sang picked out their songs, including Hayden. He was on the album as well, even though he had been kind of busy doing his solo stuff at that point. But it was really interesting. And I think one of my favorite cuts off that album is a song that came off of a George Strait album that was never released. They had apparently had recorded this album, I want to say around 1984, 85, somewhere along in there. The album was not completed. They never got around to doing overdubs or anything like that. We just had a rough mix of the original session with 7 or 8 songs on it. But one of those songs was just a really incredible tune called Wishful Drinking. And that was probably one of my favorite tunes. I've got some video I'll share here that of Benny MacArthur and Joe Manuel working out their twin guitar parts. Of course, Benny MacArthur is one of the original Ace in the Hole band members, a guitar player and fiddle player. And Mr. Joe Manuel, he came on board in the early 2000s after David Anthony had left the band due to his health issues. And Joe is an incredible guitar player, incredible singer, and for those of y'all who are not familiar with Joe, he was one of Merle Haggard's Strangers for many years, along with his brother Abe Manuel, who plays fiddle and mandolin, and alongside guitar great Red Volkart. And Joe also worked for a number of different people like Randy Travis, Ricky Skaggs, and in the late 90s, early 2000s, when I first really met and got to know Joe, he was working for Leanne Womack at that time.
Yeah. You gotta have it. Both of you? Yes, sir. Get up there! Where's my tuning ring?
Yeah. Pull that telephone cable. Yours, that was me.
You got there.
Tune it. I saw you. Every time you do that, I was pushing more.
See if I got there. Oh, it is fun. Let's see. Check Benny. Yeah.
Perfecto.
So, Joe, you want yours?
You like that better, Tom, instead of just
For the end?
It ends on.
Yeah, I like the resolve on that.
It ends on a happy note.
Yeah.
I used to use them words.
Look, he's got the side head. A little bit too much.
Well, you know why I got the side head. Is it's in tune and all. You got there later than him, but it's probably okay. I mean, he's pretty quick in his scoopage.
Okay.
I don't know if it matters.
That's why they call him Bendy MacArthur.
I think it works.
Is that Gumby's cousin?
You don't want it to sound like a machine.
No,
Right.
we don't want it
Right.
perfect. Plus, there's going to be a steel on that probably.
Well, that's going to ruin everything.
Right? Yeah, with all the.
Man, I'm sorry, Joe. I guess I owe you some new fingertips. Damn. Damn.
I like them heavier gauge strings because of the tone, but boy, they are
Oh.
a bitch to do.
You're having to bend the fourth?
Yeah.
Yeah, that,
Yeah.
when I have to do it literally pulls your skin away from your fingernail.
For your fingernail, yeah, and that hurts like a sawing gun too. You ever do that?
Uh-huh.
At least you only had to do it 26
Takes
times.
a couple of days for that.
Yeah, it's not used to being that pulled away like that.
Right. It ain't natural.
It ain't there.
Okay, I'll go back.
You trying to throw too much in there, maybe? On the
I could.
first.
I was trying to get that B and C in there, but
B and C. Cable, right?
So, to the best of my recollection, I think that we did kind of our principal recording over the course of 3 days, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I want to say that I came in Tuesday and Wednesday to track, and I believe on Monday they went ahead and did some of the drums and bass. As I recall, when I got in, they already had those rhythm tracks done. So I believe they did those on Monday. I came in on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then I believe they went ahead and used Thursday and Friday to do overdubs. I'm not sure, I wasn't there. I didn't have any overdubs to do at that point. I was lucky enough to get all my stuff done those 2 days that we were in the studio. And it was just a wonderful experience. And it was really, it's a different sort of experience to go in the studio with the guys that you've grown up listening to and admiring and looking up to, and you have so much respect for. And to be going into the studio to actually record an album with them, it can be very kind of daunting, kind of intimidating. But it was also quite endearing because as nervous as I was, I quickly realized that everybody else was just as nervous. And it took me a second to put my finger on exactly why, but it finally occurred to me that the whole band, each individual person had so much respect for the band as a whole and for everyone else in the organization. And everybody just wanted to do the best job they possibly could for everyone else, just out of respect and love for one another. So that was really great. That just the level of professionalism and the self motivation and just the way everybody worked together going in the studio. And as I said, I've got a few clips here from when we were in the studio, and you can definitely see that, I think, in these video clips. And everybody just had the greatest time working on it and working on stacking harmony parts and all those good things. It was just wonderful. Of course, in the video, you can see the steel player I was speaking of, Mr. Tommy Dedamore, who was engineering the session in his studio. Unfortunately, he had a studio for many years, and it had burned down not too long before we did this record. So at that point in time, he was still trying to get that all squared away and secure another location to rebuild his studio. So he had actually just set up the studio in his house. So we basically recorded in a couple of bedrooms that he had put some sound treatment in. And of course, I've always been a fan of Dedamore and his studio because he always got some of the greatest sounds. I love his drum tones. His production is really, really good. He has an incredible ear. I mean, really and honestly, I've not seen many great steel players who didn't have just unbelievable ear. And he's definitely that way. And you can see that in some of the little video clips I show. But I also want to let you know, you can, of course, order hard copy CDs of this album. And in addition to that, the entire album at this point is on YouTube. You can listen to those songs for free and stream them from YouTube as well. Another funny little story, I remember this was the first time in my life I ever even attempted to scat with my fiddle on an album, on a lead ride, which I did on the song that Joe Manuel sang, an old tune called Sweetheart of Mine, Can't You Hear Me Calling? And of course, I was so nervous when I did it, and we made the pass. We were playing, everybody was playing together at the same time. We ran through it, made our pass, and as soon as we ended and cut the track, and the talkback mic came on, I heard everybody laughing, heard guys laughing in there in the control room, and I thought, oh no, I just made a fool out of myself. And I'm like, is everything okay? What's wrong? I didn't really know what to say, and they said, no, man, that was great. And I remember, I believe it was Tommy said, man, you'd have done Johnny Gimble proud with that. And so that was one of the biggest compliments coming from him, and to be compared to somebody as great as Johnny Gimble. So that meant a lot to me, and that was one of my a really fond memory from that recording session. Of course, later we released the album. We got out and was doing quite a few shows around that time as well. When the album released, it got some really, really good press, including one reviewer in Nashville who's kind of known for raking everybody over the coals, and he gave us a very favorable review on the album. And so it was just a solid album. I highly recommend it if you're a George Strait fan. If you like that type of music, you like good, solid, hardcore country, of course, I highly recommend it. Some of the songs were written by some of the guys. I know Joe Manuel did a song, a ballad on there that he had written. Hayden did a tune that he had written. Benny MacArthur did a song, Drinking Doubles, that he had written. So there's a nice mixture of songs on this particular album. As I said, I highly recommend the album, not just because I'm on there. Like I said, I'm just a big fan of these guys and anything that they do, and I was just lucky enough to be a part of it. So if you get a chance, I recommend go check that album out and just let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'd love to hear y'all's opinion on it and just see what you think of the record and the songs that are on it and so forth. I guess that'll do it for today. As always, I thank you so much for the like, subscribe, and sharing these videos. And if you haven't, please go down below. You know the drill. Click that little subscribe button, click that little bell icon, and of course you'll be notified anytime I upload new content. Also, if you need any violin, fiddle, mandolin work done, please let me know. I'd love to work with you. I'm fully set up here to track all the above, and I'd love to work with you and see what kind of magic we can make happen. Also, if you're interested in lessons, please let me know. I would love to work with you on that as well. We can do those remotely, work around your schedule, and make it real easy. So as always, I hope everyone has a wonderful day, a wonderful week, and keep on picking.